President Trump today taking to Truth Social, vowing to get rid of mail-in voting.
He is promising an executive order doing just that very soon, but our chief legal correspondent Katie Barlow is here in studio tonight to answer the question, can he do this?
Well, there are some things he can do, and there are some things that are going to be a little more difficult. So in his Truth Social post this morning, Trump pledged to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots and voting machines. That he can do. But he also said the federal government can force states to do as he says, saying that they're merely agents for the federal government in counting and tabulating votes. That part is far less likely.
Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country.
The Constitution grants states the power to make rules for state and local elections and to set the time, place, and manner for congressional elections. It also permits Congress to set alternative rules for congressional elections as opposed to the state and local elections. But that power is explicitly given to Congress in the Constitution, not to the president. And Congress has used it. After the 2000 presidential election that wound up at the Supreme Court, Congress passed a law called the Help America Vote Act to set new rules for federal elections. Trump also falsely claims that the United States is the only country in the world to use mail-in ballots, but that's not true. For example, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Germany all offer mail-in voting. And he continues to push debunked theories about voter fraud that even Republicans have denounced.
There was extensive investigation of the 2020 election. There was extensive litigation over that election, and there was no proof of any kind of voting fraud that could have affected the outcome of the election, whether that was mail-in fraud or anything else. All the claims of fraud disappeared. There were lawsuits about, whether or not the claims of fraud were true, and they were all rejected. So this is not the kind of situation where there are two good sides to this question and people can pick and choose.
Hassan, who is the nation's leading expert on election law, also points out Trump himself has voted by mail numerous times.
So on election night, when we were all here earlier on in the evening when the results were coming in, President Trump had said he heard about big fraud in Philadelphia. And of course, as Hazen said, it went by the wayside once he was declared the winner. This came up, though. This very topic came up when President Trump met with Vladimir Putin last week.
That's exactly right. And in fact, Putin suggested to Trump he do something about that and that he rightfully won previous elections and that there's rampant voter fraud because we allow mail-in voting. So this idea comes just hours and days after that conversation. You can't say they're definitely linked, but they appear to be.
All right. Thank you, Katie.